Hi, this is Joe again with another review. Now, some time ago, actually 4 years ago, I did a review, a video of the whole Jaws movie series. And unfortunately, it didn't get as many views as I would like. I mean, it was probably non-existent. It was non-existent, really. So I decided to, since we were in summer, and last week we just had the 4th of July, which is really when Jaws movies were basically both around the 4th of July, I decided to redo it and redo the Jaws movie series, but do the movies one at a time. So I'm going to be doing that for the next couple of videos, and hopefully get more viewership that way. So naturally, this video I'm going to be starting with the first Jaws movie, which came out way back in 1975. And I have some interesting facts on the first Jaws movie. Most notably, of course, what a lot of people don't know is that the first Jaws movie was actually based on a novel written by Peter Benchley, who does make a cameo in this movie as a TV reporter, and which is interesting. And also, this was also the first. I think it was the second film that Steven Spielberg actually directed, but it was the first one that became a huge hit. And also born in the age of the summer blockbuster. So it's the first, in a lot of ways, the first movie that Steven Spielberg directed that became a huge hit, and born in the age of the blockbuster. Even though Star Wars became the king of the summer blockbuster when it came out in May 1977, it was 2 years later. But this one was really the first one to set that trend of the summer blockbuster. And of course, it made huge, even though these actors already were established, except for maybe Lorraine Gary, who played Chief Brody's wife. Most of the actors in this movie were already established stars before they did Jaws. But then they became even bigger stars because of this movie. Those will all be the three main stars, which were, of course, Roy Schneider, who plays Chief Brody. You had Richard Dreyfuss, who of course played Matt Hooper, the shark expert. And of course you had Robert Shaw, who of course was in movies since the 1960s, for being in Rush with Love, playing Red Grant in the second Bond film. So of course, the original Taking Apollo 1, 2, 3, a bunch of other films. Plus, also he was also a Northern Rider, which we're going to get into later on, playing the shark hunter Quint. And that's all he was named. That's the only name he had. He didn't have a first name. Quint as the shark hunter. And also not only that, but also look for Murray Hamilton, who of course was famous for playing Mr. Robinson in the film The Graduate, the movie that made Dustin Hoffman a star, as the mayor of Amity Island. Of course, this movie was also, of course, the only one, well, the Jaws movies in particular, at least 3 out of the 4. The first 2 and the last movie were the only ones that actually were filmed on Martha's Vineyard. There was never another movie because they have very strict laws in Cape Cod area in general. They have really tough, strict laws, and playing Martha's Vineyard is very, very restricted in terms of letting a film or television crew in there. So, but Jaws or Spielberg or Universal Studios, which produced the film, well, that was the only one who was allowed to actually film the Martha's Vineyard, because nobody filmed Martha's Vineyard before to Jaws. And they actually went on vacation to Cape Cod in 1986, plus also in 87. We went to the areas where Jaws was actually filmed on the tour. The actual beach where the first girl was found dead, when they had the little beach party in the very beginning of the film, plus the lighthouse, plus the area where they had the big billboard, Amity Island welcomes you. I actually was in that area, and took, my father and I took pictures of that area. So it's very, very cool to see that. We actually went through the streets and we saw some of the areas of Martha's Vineyard that was shown in the film. And it hasn't changed very much in the 11 years from Jaws to when I went on vacation to Cape Cod. We stopped at Martha's Vineyard. Anyway, that was a long introduction, almost 5 minutes already. But for Jaws, like I said earlier, it is the first real summer blockbuster. And it's about Chief Brody, who was played by Roy Snyder, like I mentioned earlier, playing the new police chief for Amity Island, the new police chief, who came in from New York as a former police officer from New York City. He transferred. He got his new job as the chief, the brand new police chief of Amity Island, and of course, his first summer there as police chief, because it came the previous fall to be the police chief, and so this was actually his first summer as police chief. He had to deal with all the tourists that come there in the summer season, because Martha's Vineyard, like all Cape Cod really, is really a summer vacation destination. It really does rely on the summer dollars, not only in the fictional world of the Jaws universe, but also in reality as well. And so he's there for the first time. He has to do with all the summer jinx, as they would call, and the summer goons and all that stuff, all the crazy tourists that come up there every year, or to rent property, to rent a house up there, and all that type of thing. And so just before the season really gets started, and a couple of weeks before the 4th of July weekend, that's where the big tourist weekend was. There was this beach party right on the beach, and one particular girl and a guy named Chrissy, the girl was named Chrissy, goes with a guy, and they go down to the beach and decides to go do a little skinny dipping. Even though you really didn't see anything of the girl, really, except for maybe from above her boobs up. You didn't really see anything. It's more of a play that she was naked in the scene. She goes swimming, and of course the guy that she was with, the guy that she was going to go skinny dipping with, so drunk he passes out on the beach. And he doesn't see what happened to the girl. And of course the girl gets attacked and eaten by the shark. And how they did that was she actually was tied, and the crew, or the production crew, were pulling her from side to side, violently jerking her from side to side to make her look like that she was being attacked by the shark. It happened to be a big great white shark, and at first, naturally, you didn't see the shark for more than halfway through the film, which we're going to get into. Of course, the next morning, the girl was, of course, reported missing by the guy who was passed out on the beach. So Chief Brody gets called in and to investigate this thing. And so he interviews the guy, and then they found pieces of her body on the beach, including a hand, in the ocean, not in the ocean, in the sand, in the surf, and they got washed in by the tide. Her remains, and so of course, Chief Brody writes up the fact that it was a shark attack. He immediately reports it as a shark attack, and so did the coroner. Reported that there was a shark attack. Well, of course, the mayor does not want word to get out that that somebody got attacked by a shark just before the summer season officially starts. Because if word gets out, nobody will go up to Amity to go swimming there, or to go enjoy the beach there. To go to like the Hamptons, Cape Cod, even though technically it was Cape. Martha's Vineyard was in Cape Cod. But you see, all people go to Long Island, the Hamptons, Cape Cod, and not come here because of the shark. And so they officially made Chief Brody change the report on it. And then of course they had the 4th of July, and of course the word came out. I think it was like it was like a week before the 4th of July when the beaches were officially open. But they had for like a day they closed. There was another little boy, Alex Kinder, who was killed by the shark. And you see it's pretty violent scene, even though you still haven't seen the shark yet. And the mother put out a $3,000 bounty for somebody to kill the shark. And of course, he had all the bunch of people coming in to hunt the shark, and so they can collect the $3,000. And of course, Alex Kintz's mother put in all kinds of ads in the papers and all out of town papers and stuff to go kill the shark. And of course, they want to close the beaches. Now they're officially going to close the beaches, but only for they may only want to close for 1 day, but it's not going to be good enough. But Chief Brody wants to close permanently until the shark is eliminated. But Mayor says we're going to keep it open, closed for 1 day. That's it. And of course, Chief Brody says, "Oh, you're nuts, man! You're crazy. There's a killer shark out there." But then Quint, played by Robert Shaw, says, "Look, I can kill him out for you." And then one of the I find him for $3,000. Well, I find him and kill him for 10. And he was, at least $13,000 to go and kill the shark. And then I find him for 3. And so you hire me for 3, but I find him and kill him for $10,000. He gave him the proposal, how much he wants to spend for it, and it's we're taking under advisement. And then of course on the 4th of July. And then, of course, at that point, Richard Dreyfuss's character comes in from the Oceanographic Institute and says, "Yes, you do have a shark problem." And they found out there was a couple of other small little incidents that the shark was involved in. A couple of guys who threw a roast out, and the shark took it, pretty much destroyed this little dock on the other side of the island, of Amity Island, and then they found out that there's going to be more of these incidents. Then, of course, there was a shark that was caught, but it wasn't the shark that killed the boy or the girl in the beginning of the film. And of course, the mother of the boy, that was killed by the shark, finds out what happened. There was another incident beforehand, and she slaps Brody in the face. Because he knew that there was a shark out there, and it was allowed to go swim, and now people go swimming anyway with the shark out there. And it wasn't his responsibility; it was the mayor who did that. The mayor convinced her that she's wrong, and said, "No, she's not wrong. She was downright right. We knew there was a shark out there, and let people go swimming anyway. It's our responsibility." So then when they found out that there was then there became another incident where a guy lost his leg to a shark attack, and you see the leg dropping down, and Brody's son almost got attacked by the shark, but he survived. He ended up with shock. He had developed mild shock because of what happened with the shark in the area called the pond, where a lot of the old ladies go to. And then the mayor was convinced to, okay, let's hire Quint to kill the shark. And and the rest of the movie, you have about 45-50 minutes left of this movie, and the rest of the film is these 3 guys. Everybody else all the other characters have been eliminated from the rest of the film. You don't even see anybody else from the rest of the film. Now you're going to see the 3 main characters, Brody, Matt Hooper, which is Richard Dreyfuss' character, and Quint for the rest of the film. Then you have the 3 of them hunting the shark. And of course, the first day, when you have the shark, and the pretty much dramatic scene, where Robert Shaw, his timing was great in this thing. How he slowly he put this harness on himself, hooked into the rod and the reel, and trying to reel in the shark by hand with this rod and the reel and with piano wire. He used a piano wire instead of use typical wires they use for regular fishing. So they're trying to reel in the shark, and then he yells at Matt Hooper, who was driving the boat, "Hooper, you idiot, ain't you watching it?" And then on the DVD that I have, the 25th anniversary DVD, when Robert Shaw says the line, he goes, "Bleh!" He pukes his guts out because all of them got seasick. From filming all those scenes, they all got seasick. And it was Robert Shaw's turn to puke his guts up. And then they go after after the shark the first night. And then, of course, the scene later on where Roy Scheider's character, she probably puts up a chum line, which is like tracking the shark, put like fish parts and blood out to track the shark. Then it says, "Oh, we can come down here and tell him some of this shit." And then, of course, he turns around. There's the shark. That's the first time you physically saw the shark instead of just the fin. You just saw the dorsal fin, and not physically the shark. And the reason for that is because the reason why it took you so long to see the shark in the film is because of the fact that they had so many mechanical. Because the shark in all the Jaws movies, all four of them, was a mechanical shark. And of course, you didn't have CGI. There's no such thing as CGI back in 1975 or 1974 when the movie was filmed. You did when the movie was released in '75. It was filmed in 1974 for a '75 release. You didn't have CGI. You didn't have computer technology, computer special effects to fall back on back then. So they had to physically use a physically. Excuse me. You had to use a physically mechanical shark, and what they did was that it kept breaking down. And then when finally was able to actually get money was the scene when the shark pops out of the water when Roy Schneider was putting chum in the ocean. And then of course you had Lee Line in the movie. I didn't know if it was actually in the novel or not. I never read the novel. When then Roy Schneider comes back into the cabin of the ship, the Orca, which was Robert Shaw's or Quint's ship. He says, "You're going to need a bigger boat." And of course, the line was parodied in so many other movies and television shows in the 43 years since then. And of course, he saw the shark, and he says maybe 25. It was a 25-foot shark. And of course, still trying to kill the shark, but by that point, the shark always gained one up on the three guys. And it's just the three of them out in the middle of the ocean, and gets one 25-foot shark. And after the first full day was over, they were having dinner in the principal in the cabin there in the galley, and Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss were comparing scores in the buys. "Oh, I got this one in a bar fight." Richard Dreyfuss said, "Oh, I got this one. I got bit by a mowing eel. I got this one by a thrasher shark, and all this stuff." And then Roy Schneider noticed they score a mark on Quint's forearm. He said, "Oh, what's that one?" I said, "Which one?" I said, "Oh, the one on your arm." "Oh, that's a tattoo got removed." "Oh, what's that tattoo of?" And of course, Richard Dreyfuss said, "Oh, it's a tattoo of his mother, one of his mother tattoos." And he said, "No, that's from a tattoo on a ship I showed on called the USS Indianapolis." And of course, this part of the movie was like the creepiest part of the whole film. When Robert Shaw tells in a real dry pan, I mean, it wasn't funny the way he tells it, but it's a real dry delivery of what happened to the USS Indianapolis. And this is one of the few things, even though this is a fictional story, but the story that Robert Shaw tells, even though he rewrote it a couple of different times for the film, this dialogue, what happened to the USS Indianapolis was true in this film, even though Quint is a fictional character. What happened to the USS Indianapolis was back in 1945. They delivered the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima at the end of World War II in Japan. And after they got the atom bomb off the ship, they got hit by a Japanese submarine. 2 torpedoes hit it and sank within 12 minutes. And the crew that survived was floating around in the ocean, and a bunch of sharks came around, and so eating up members of the crew. And only like 1,500 men went in. And only it's kind of like what happened in the movie Titanic, where Gloria Stewart says only 6 were safe from the water. Well, there was more than 6 people survived in the water. There was like maybe 100, maybe 200 or 300 guys. I think it's between 200 and 400 guys out of a crew of 1,200 or 1,500 survived, because and the rest were getting eaten were either drowned or majority of them got eaten by the sharks in that area. So all that stuff they was telling about how sharks were eating us off one by one, that part of the story was true. And if you look at Richard Dreyfuss' expression as Robert Shaw was telling the story about being on the Indianapolis, that was an actual honest reaction by Richard Dreyfuss in that sequence. Then, of course, eventually, getting back to the story, the next day, that's when they had, and of course, after Robert Shaw tells that story, they got attacked by the ship gets attacked by the shark, and of course, the boat was slowly, the ship, the Orca, was slowly sinking as the film was going on, and it was really haunting to see this. And because it took a hell of a lot longer for the ship to sink in Jaws than, of course, in Titanic. But because of the pace of the movie, it took a lot slower. That's what I mean. It took slower in Jaws because of the pacing of the film. Anyway, can't believe we're talking over 20 minutes on this thing. Of course, what does happen is that Quint does get attacked and killed by the end of by the shark eventually. His turn eventually came, but before he gets killed, Richard Dreyfuss gets dropped into the ocean in an anti-shark cage, trying to kill the shark underneath the water, and that didn't work out either. But Richard Dreyfuss does live at the end of the film. Spoiler. And of course, Quint does get killed by the shark. And of course, you had these tanks of compressed air on the ship that Richard Dreyfuss brought on board. And so what Roy Schneider does, he throws it one of these tanks after the shark eats up Quint. Roy Schneider throws the tank into the shark's mouth, and he says, "Blow up! Come on, blow up!" And he has a gun to maybe shoot the tank and blow up the shark, which eventually what he does. And before he says it, he says, other than you need a bigger boat line, this was a better line than that. He says, "Smile, you son of a bitch," and he shoots the shark. The shark blows up. Bullet hits the tank, and the shark blows up. And at that point, that's when Richard Dreyfuss comes out of the water, because Roy Schneider thought that he was the only one who's going to be alive, and he was going to drown in the water because the boat, really nothing left of the boat, and because the boat sank. And here comes Richard Dreyfuss out of the water, and they swam back using the remaining barrels that Robert Shaw's character was using to bring up the shark, and he swam back to shore. And that's how the movie ends. And this movie became a big hit and started the whole little franchise that unfortunately only produced 3 more movies, because unfortunately the movies get worse. It's like stereotypical of any movie series, really. This was really the first really movie series where the movies were getting worse at the end. And of course, hopefully the next video I will do is, of course, review the very first sequel, which is, of course, appropriately named Jaws 2. In my next video hopefully. So this is my review of the original Jaws movie. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com, that's RWDY.com. Homepage of Rowdy Reviewer Chris Lee Moore. And please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.